Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Social Quiztancing. A little bit of trivia to keep you entertained while you're stuck at home, or increasingly not stuck at home, and hopefully not congregating in large groups for trivia. Let's get started. As always, I'm going to give you 15 questions. We're going to start with 5 general knowledge questions. Then we'll do our connections round of 5 questions where I give you 4 seemingly random clues and you tell me what the hidden connection is. And then lastly, we'll have our special round. Now this week, I happened to notice that while I was putting questions together, I was getting a lot of questions about animals, as I often do. Specifically, I found a lot of questions about farm animals, barnyard animals, and stuff like that. So that's sort of a mini theme for tonight's quiz, and maybe that'll give you some hints how to answer some of these questions. So appropriately for this week, let's start off with this question. In George Orwell's novel Animal Farm, or novella, sort of, what kind of animal is Napoleon? Animal Farm, what kind of animal is Napoleon? Give yourself a point if you get this right. I forgot to say that after I read you all the questions, I'll pause for a couple of seconds while I say that, and then I'll read you the answers at the end of the quiz. So you'll get the answers if you wait through the whole quiz. Next question. In Queensland, Australia, it's illegal to own a rabbit unless you can prove what? It's illegal in Queensland, Australia to own a rabbit unless you can prove what? Next question. What is the name above the door of the house where Winnie the Pooh lives? So what's the name above the door of the house where Winnie the Pooh lives? Number 4. Which occasional character in Friends had first appeared as a waitress in the US sitcom Mad About You? Not all of these questions are barnyard related, so just letting you know. They're not all barnyard questions. Okay. And last, from the general knowledge round, which violet gemstone takes its name from the Greek for not intoxicated? Which violet gemstone takes its name from the Greek for not intoxicated? Let's move on to the connections round. So in this round, I'm going to give you 4 seemingly unrelated clues, and you tell me what the connection is. So if I told you John, Paul, Carpet, and Scarab, you would tell me that they're all beetles. Right? Okay, let's get started. I will show you the answers in sort of order. I'll pause as I go through all 4. And if you get it after the first clue, give yourself 5 points. If you get it after the second clue, give yourself 3 points. If you get it after the third clue, give yourself 2 points. And if you get it after all 4 clues are visible, then give yourself 1 point, or give yourself whatever points you think you deserve because no one's keeping track. Okay, first one. England Saddleback. Chester White. American Yorkshire, and Berkshire. What's the connection between those 4 clues? Next one. Iron. Go a little closer so you can see. Feet, Earth, and Stanley. Iron, feet, Earth, and Stanley. What's the connection between those 4 clues? Next one. Cowardly, gluttonous, weak-willed follower, greatest of all time. Cowardly, gluttonous, weak-willed follower, greatest of all time. sojourner, spirit, opportunity, curiosity. Sojourner, spirit, opportunity, curiosity. What's the connection between those 4 clues? And finally, buffalo chips, meadow muffins, cow pies, and night soil. Buffalo chips, meadow muffins, cow pies, and night soil. What's the connection between those 4 apparently random clues? Okay, so for our special round today, it's going to be a barnyard themed round. Barnyard bonanza, we could call it, if we wanted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a series of facts about 5 farm animals or farm adjacent animals. And your job is to determine which animal the facts belong to. So I'll read you sort of a short paragraph about each animal, and you tell me which of those, which animal that belongs to. Okay? Okay. First, Argentinian legend has a werewolf variant where the victim turns into a half dog, half this on Tuesdays and Fridays. And a cartoon version of this animal is banned in China for encouraging gangster attitudes. One was hanged for sacrilege in 1394 for eating a communion wafer, and was the victim of history's first recorded traffic accident when one was run over by a Roman chariot carrying an ornamental phallus. Its milk is said to be delicious, but very difficult to get because they hate being milked. What animal did I just describe? Number 2. A plant seemingly named after this animal can actually survive and grow after being eaten by that animal, although this is a coincidence and the name has nothing to do with it. Shining a light on this animal's head will make its testicles grow, and giant versions of them, the animal, not the testicle, were once the dominant animal on the Hawaiian Islands before the arrival of humans. They can close one eye and put half their brain to sleep. What animal is that? Next, 15 of these were once enrolled in a French primary school, and a nearly equal number once lived at the White House. The first hydraulic lift was built to lift one onto a roof. In 2015, a Singapore Airlines freight plane had to make an emergency landing because its cargo of these set off the smoke alarm with their farting. But the good news is that feeding this animal curry can reduce its methane production by up to 40%. What animal did I just describe there? The word tragedy literally translates to this animal's song, and no one knows why. One once reached the rank of Lance Corporal in the British Army, but was demoted for inappropriate behavior during the Queen's official birthday. It can help protect a city from wildfires by clearing dangerous areas of brush, and has held electoral office in Brazil, New Zealand, Texas, and Vermont, the latter 2 as mayors. Research has shown that they produce more milk if listening to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. So what is that? And the last one for today. According to European folklore, and still taken very seriously, this animal must be told about important events in their caretakers' lives, and should also be invited to weddings and funerals. They hold each other's legs as they sleep, and frequently confuse the scent of bananas with a hormone inciting them to attack. If given cocaine, they're more likely to dance, and in Japan, school children are taught that they make the sound boon boon. Boon boon. What animal did I just describe there? Okay, so I'm gonna read you the answers now. We'll go back to the top. If you want to, if you don't want to hear my answers and you want to work on these a little bit more, hit pause or navigate away from this and come back to it later, and then you'll get the answers when I return. So for those of you that want to stick around and hear the answers, here they are. In George Orwell's novella, Animal Farm, what kind of animal is Napoleon? He is, of course, a pig. A pig. Number 2. In Queensland, Australia, it's illegal to own a rabbit unless you can prove you're a magician. Yes, rabbits are invasive, and so you cannot own them unless you're a magician. In which case, they don't escape because they just disappear, right? That was a great joke. Next, what is the name above the door of the house where Winnie the Pooh lives? If you got this, it's Mr. Sanders. Why? Well, Mr. Sanders. Next, which occasional character in Friends had first appeared as a waitress in the US sitcom Mad About You? And that is Ursula Buffet, Phoebe's twin sister, played also by Lisa Kudrow. Appears in both Friends and Mad About You. They rebooted Mad About You for some unfathomable reason. Anyway. Which violet gemstone takes its name from the Greek for not intoxicated? The answer is amethyst. A meant no, or none, and not, and Mephisto, or Mephisco, I think, was meant intoxicated, so it meant not intoxicated. And they thought that that by placing that in a drink, it would cause you not to become intoxicated by the wine. That somehow that would, because it had a, similar color to the wine, it would somehow prevent you from being intoxicated by that. Don't recommend trying to see if that works, but stuck at home, why not? Why not try it? The amethyst will be fine. All right. So for our next round, our connections round, I'm going to go through the connections that we had. So at first, we had Angelin, I don't know, Saddleback, Chester White, American Yorkshire, and Berkshire. These are all breeds of pigs. Breeds of pigs. There are lots of those, although not as many as I thought when I Googled that list. Next one. Iron, feet, earth, and Stanley. These all can be preceded by flat. You, too, can pick up a flat Stanley book when we reopen for curbside pickup next week. Next one. Cowardly, gluttonous, weak-willed follower, and greatest of all time. These are, if you call someone a particular animal, this is what they mean. So if you call someone chicken, they're cowardly. If you call someone a pig, they're gluttonous. If you call someone a weak sheep, they're a weak-willed follower. And if you call someone the goat, it is greatest of all time. Next, sojourner, spirit, opportunity, and curiosity. Did you get this? These are all Mars missions. Mars missions. In chronological order, too. And last for the connections round, barnyard theme, we have buffalo chips, meadow muffins, cow pies, and night soil. These are all nicknames for manure. Yeah, a bit of crap in our quiz today. Okay, and back to our Barnyard Bonanza round. So I told you that Argentinian legend has a werewolf variant where the victim turns into a half dog, half this on Tuesdays and Fridays. A cartoon version of it's banned in China for encouraging gangster attitudes. One was hanged for sacrilege in 1394 for eating a communion wafer, and it was the victim of history's very first recorded traffic accident. Its milk is delicious, but you can't get it because they hate being milked. It is a pig. A pig. I don't know. Have you ever had pig milk? If you have, let me know. All right, next one. A plant seemingly named after this animal can survive and grow in its belly, although this is a coincidence. It's not named after that fact. Shining a light on this animal's head will make its testicles grow. Giant versions of this animal were once the dominant animal on the Hawaiian Islands. They can close one eye and put half their brain to sleep. They are the magnificent duck. Next, 15 of these were once enrolled at a French primary school. They also used to graze on the White House lawn. The first hydraulic lift was built to lift one onto a roof. An airline had to be grounded because of their farts, but if you give it curry, you can reduce its farts by 40%. It is the noble sheep. Try feeding curry to a sheep if you don't want it to fart in your plane. Next. The word tragedy literally translates to this animal's song, and no one knows why. One once reached the rank of Lance Corporal in the British Army, but was demoted for inappropriate behavior in front of the Queen. It can help protect a city from wildfires by clearing dangerous areas of brush, and it's held electoral office in Brazil, New Zealand, Texas, and Vermont, the last two as mayors of towns. Research has shown that they produce more milk if listening to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. It is, of course, the goat. Yep, tragedy means goat song. Nobody knows why. I love that fact. It's one of my favorites. Next, and last, final one on our list. Okay, so according to European folklore, and it's still taken very seriously, this animal must be told about important events in their caretakers' lives, and should also be invited to weddings and funerals. They hold on to each other's legs as they sleep, and frequently confuse the scent of bananas with a hormone, inciting them to attack. If given cocaine, they're more likely to dance, and in Japan, school children are taught that they make the sound boon boon. It is the honeybee. The honeybee. Anyway, that's all of our facts for that's all of our questions for this week and facts for this week. So thank you for joining us. You can tune in next week at 6 o'clock for the same, and we will see you then. If you want to let us know how you did, you can message us on any of our social media accounts or leave a comment on this video. And if you have any extra quiz questions you'd like me to use on the show, feel free to send them to ryan@desmondfishlibrary.org, and I would be happy to have them. So we'll see you next week. Good quizzing, everyone. I hope you got lots of the points you deserve. Bye!